The movie begins with Kay, a Blade Runner, arriving at a remote protein farm in the California desert. He confronts the farmer, Sapper Morton, who is secretly an older model replicant living off-grid for years. Sapper accepts his fate quietly, but asks Kay one question before they fight. Kay overpowers Sapper and retires him, but Sapper leaves a chilling message about miracles. He says Kay has never seen a miracle, because Kay is a newer model who follows orders without question. But Kay notices something unusual buried near Sapper's farm and flags it for investigation. A dig team uncovers a military footlocker buried deep in the soil for 30 years. Kay then reports for his baseline test, a grueling ritual that checks whether he still lacks human emotion. He recites a word association poem about cells interlinked, proving his mind is calm and controlled. He passes, collects his bonus, and returns home to his apartment in a sprawling, polluted Los Angeles. There he is greeted by Joy, his holographic companion designed to be everything he needs. Joy cooks for him, plays music, and creates a warm domestic world inside his cramped apartment. She surprises him with a gift, a portable emanator that lets her leave the apartment and travel with him. But Kay's quiet evening is interrupted when he is called back to headquarters. The dig team has analyzed the footlocker, and the results are impossible. Inside the box are the bones of a female replicant, meticulously cleaned and buried with care. The forensic examiner finds evidence of an emergency C-section performed by a combat medic. But the most shocking detail is a fracture in the pelvis caused by a narrow birth canal. There is no sign of a child's remains at the farm site, and the team is baffled. The lead examiner delivers the conclusion that changes everything. The dead replicant was pregnant. A replicant gave birth, something the world believes is impossible. Lieutenant Joshi pulls Kay aside and explains the danger in the starkest terms. She says the world is built on a wall that separates humans from replicants, and this miracle breaks that wall. If either side learns a replicant could reproduce, it means war or slaughter, so every trace must be erased. Joshi orders Kay to find the child and retire it, but Kay hesitates. He says he has never retired something that was born, because to be born is to have a soul. Joshi dismisses his concern and sends him out to track the child through old DNA records. But most records were destroyed in a global event called the Blackout, 10 days of darkness that wiped all digital data. Kay's search leads him to the Wallace Corporation, the company that now manufactures all replicants. There he meets Love, a sleek replicant who serves the company's founder, Nyander Wallace. Love escorts Kay into the archives, where she watches him carefully and reports his visit to Wallace. Kay sifts through damaged memory bearings from before the blackout, searching for any trace of the pregnant replicant. The fragmented records mention a woman who did not know what she was, and they reference Officer Deckard. Kay learns that Deckard was a legendary Blade Runner who worked the old replicant cases decades ago. But Deckard vanished completely, and nobody knows where he went or whether he is still alive. Meanwhile, Wallace reviews the records Love brought him and learns the impossible truth. A replicant child exists, the final achievement of the old Tyrol Corporation before it collapsed. Wallace sees the child as the key to his ambition, because he cannot build replicants fast enough to colonize the stars. He believes replicant reproduction would let him produce millions more workers and conquer the galaxy. So he orders Love to find the child and bring it to him by any means necessary. Love swears loyalty to Wallace, but her eyes reveal something darker beneath her devotion. Wallace also tells Love to find the man who killed Sapper Morton and extract whatever he knows. Back at headquarters, Kay shows Joshi a carved date he found at Sapper's farm, but she pushes harder. Joshi asks Kay if he has any real memories from before his activation, and Kay says no, his memories are implants. But he reluctantly shares one memory, a wooden horse with an inscription that a group of boys tried to steal from him. In the memory, young Kay hid the horse inside a dark furnace, terrified but determined to keep it safe. The boys beat him, but he never revealed where the horse was hidden, and Joshi seems moved by the story. She tells Kay they are all just looking for something real, and sends him to check the DNA database. Kay runs the records and finds something that makes his blood run cold. The date carved beneath his wooden horse in his memory is the same date from Sapper's farm, 6/10/21. Joy sees the connection, and her eyes light up with a dangerous hope. She tells Kay he might be the child, born of a replicant mother, not manufactured in a lab. Kay resists the idea, but Joy insists it would make him special, wanted, loved. Then Kay discovers 2 DNA records with identical genetic profiles, which should be impossible for 2 different people. One is a boy and one is a girl, processed at the same orphanage, meaning one record is a deliberate copy. The girl's record says she died of a genetic disorder, but the boy simply disappeared from the system. Kay sets out for the Morrow Coal Orphanage in the irradiated ruins outside the city. He arrives at a crumbling facility where children sort scrap metal in a toxic wasteland. But as Kay enters, the orphanage is attacked by scavengers, and he is caught in a chaotic firefight. Kay survives the chaos and forces the orphanage's cruel manager, Mr. Cotton, to cooperate. Cotton claims he has no records from 30 years ago, but Kay does not believe him. Kay threatens Cotton until he admits the records exist somewhere in the facility. But when they reach the archive room, the entire year of records has been ripped out by hand. Kay returns home shaken, and Joy gently tells him what he is desperate to hear. She says he has always been special, born not made, and he needs a real name. She calls him Joe, and he accepts it with a fragile, tentative hope. But Kay needs proof, so he seeks out the woman who creates memories for replicants, Dr. Anna Stelline. Stelline lives inside a sterile glass dome because her immune system cannot survive the outside world. She has spent her entire life behind glass, imagining worlds she can never touch, which made her a master of memory design. Kay asks her whether she can tell if a memory is real or fabricated. Stelline says real memories are recalled through feelings, not facts, and offers to look inside Kay's mind. Kay sits before her and lets her see the memory of the wooden horse in the dark furnace. Stelline watches the memory play out, and her face changes completely. She says someone lived this, and it really happened, but she cannot say who. Kay leaves reeling, because if the memory is real, then he is the replicant child. But the discovery has pushed him past his emotional limits, and he fails his next baseline test catastrophically. Joshi confronts him, but Kay lies and tells her he found and retired the child. The case is closed. Joshi senses something is wrong, but gives him 48 hours to get back on track before she reports him. Kay returns home to Joy and tells her she was right about everything. Joy arranges for Kay to meet a real woman named Mariette, a replicant who can overlap with Joy's holographic form. For one brief moment, Kay feels the touch of someone real through Joy's digital projection. But the peace shatters when Love's forces trace Kay's location and attack his apartment. Joy tells Kay she is coming with him, but to protect his secrets, she must delete herself from the console. She asks Kay to break her emanator, knowing this will make her truly portable but also truly fragile. Kay smashes the emanator, and Joy becomes a single copy with no backup, existing only in his pocket. They flee together, and Kay follows the trail of the old records toward the radioactive ruins of Las Vegas. They're among the abandoned neon and the silent statues. Kay finds a man living alone in a collapsed casino. It is Rick Deckard, the legendary Blade Runner, who disappeared 30 years ago to protect a secret. Deckard is wary but invites Kay inside, and over whiskey he tells the story he has never told anyone. Decades ago, Deckard fell in love with a replicant named Rachel, and together they had a child. Deckard says he never knew if Rachel knew what she was, but she wanted the child and so did he. To protect the child, Deckard separated the twins and faked one record to make a decoy. He erased every trail and hid himself in the ruins, waiting to see if anyone would come looking. Kay tells Deckard he believes he is that child, and Deckard studies his face with a complicated expression. But before the truth can settle, Love's forces descend on Las Vegas with overwhelming firepower. Love destroys the emanator in Kay's pocket, and Joy's voice flickers and then vanishes forever. Kay is left broken in the rubble, as Love's soldiers drag Deckard away to Wallace's headquarters. But Kay is not alone in the ruins. A group of replicants emerges from the shadows and carries him to safety. Their leader, Freysa, brings Kay to a hidden underground base where replicants have organized in secret for years. Freysa reveals the truth that breaks Kay's heart. The replicant child is not him. The real child is Dr. Anna Stelline, who lives behind glass because her immune system is the result of her unique birth. Kay's memory of the wooden horse is real, but it is not his own. It is Anna's memory, given to him as an implant. Freysa says Anna created the memory from her own childhood and placed it inside replicants to spread the truth. The replicant underground wants to keep Anna hidden, because if Wallace finds her, he will control replicant reproduction forever. Freysa tells Kay that Deckard is being taken to Wallace, who will torture the location of the child out of him. Kay accepts that he is not the child, but he knows what he must do, and it has nothing to do with being special. Wallace brings Deckard before him and shows him a perfect replica of Rachel, rebuilt from genetic records. Wallace offers Deckard a life with this new Rachel if he reveals the child's location, but Deckard refuses. Wallace orders Love to take Deckard off-world for extraction, and Love prepares to transport him by sea. But Kay intercepts the transport, boarding Love's ship in the middle of a violent ocean storm. Kay fights through Love's guards in a brutal, desperate battle across the flooding ship. Love confronts Kay personally and proves why she is Wallace's best angel, nearly drowning him in the rising water. But Kay pulls Love beneath the surface and she goes still, the strongest soldier silenced at last. Kay frees Deckard, and the two men escape the sinking ship together into the night. Kay flies Deckard to the glass dome where Dr. Anna Stelline lives her quiet, isolated life. Kay tells Deckard to go inside and meet his daughter, a moment he sacrificed everything to give him. Deckard walks toward the glass as Anna turns and sees him, and her face fills with wonder. Outside in the falling snow, Kay lies on the steps, his body failing, and watches the light from the dome. He does not go inside because he was never the child, but he did the most human thing a replicant has ever done. He gave a father back to his daughter, and that was enough.